Am I the a-hole for ruining my brother's childhood memory by admitting I photoshopped it 14 years ago? When my younger brother, 20 now, was 6, he went through a huge Harry Potter phase. He loved the wizarding world and believed he might meet Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, or the other characters on a family trip to Scotland since Hogwarts was there. No one promised him this, but he convinced himself it could happen. Sadly, the trip was canceled after our grandpa passed away, and my brother was devastated for both reasons. To cheer him up, I decided to craft a souvenir. I was 16 and had just discovered Photoshop, so I edited a picture of my brother with Daniel Radcliffe to make it look like they'd met. I printed it, framed it, and gave it to him without telling him it was fake. He loved it and fully believed he'd met Daniel. Soon, he had an entire story about the meeting, what they talked about, how Daniel hugged him, etc. It was so sweet, and none of us, my family and I, had the heart to tell him the truth. Fast forward 14 years, and my brother still didn't know that the old, low-quality picture of him meeting Daniel Radcliffe is fake. I never told him because his memory of the fake meeting felt so real to him that it became one of his proudest stories. Over time, the memory became less important, and the framed picture had been packed away in some box, and my brother has long outgrown his Harry Potter obsession. Yesterday, however, we were at our parents' home, and we were bringing up old memories. You know how it goes. The story of meeting Daniel Radcliffe came up, and thinking it was harmless, I told him the truth. I thought he'd laugh, but instead he got visibly upset. He didn't want to believe me at first, thinking I was messing with him. I told him the real story of how and why I did it. He told me that it feels like I robbed him of a real childhood memory that he really cherished, and he feels embarrassed thinking about all the times he's told people about meeting Daniel Radcliffe in person, even recently. We ended our conversation on a semi-good note, though. I apologized for not telling him sooner, because I do feel bad that it meant so much to him even now, but I don't regret it. Back then, it made him so happy during a rough time, and I don't regret giving him that joy. I just didn't realize how much it still meant to him. So I'm just wondering, or was I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not convincing my brother to come back after he cut most of our family off for their complicity in his bullying? My brother, 24M, Alan, hates our family, community with a passion because of events in our childhood. Essentially, he was bullied by his peers in his childhood for whatever petty childish reasons they had. I believe that at some points it was physical, pushing him around, or in the most extreme when some kid threw a rock at his head. Our family didn't bother trying to help since they believed it was just children being immature, and they would move on from it. Most teachers didn't care according to him, and only offered to have some words with his tormentors. As far as I can tell, the bullying never stopped and he didn't bother bringing it up ever again. In high school, he finally blew up and had a mental breakdown in class once it got too much for him. Our parents realized their mistake and tried to get him help or to apologize, but he just rejected their efforts. Alan became easily agitated and very angry, so now he ended up retaliating against anyone who said anything or tried to antagonize him. He did some really awful things during this time. I don't think I can say it on Reddit without getting in trouble. The closest I can say is using personal tragedies as insults to people who irritated him. That nearly escalated into a fight, which is a whole other issue. But they pulled him from that school and put him somewhere else. He left after he got into a trade school and refuses to come back home. He only bothers talking to me, 16F, and a few of our cousins via phone or text. My mom and dad have changed their views on things like mental health because of what happened to Alan and take it seriously now. Recently, we've been getting pressure to get him to come back and try to mend things, but we're scared he'd just cut us off for even suggesting it.